morning, church. Good time to go to sleep and not to attend church, right? But first, I want to thank our IT team, Wallace, Benjamin, and for making it easier for me to share a sermon today. I have shared Survive the Change Part 1, and in that, mentioned about the financial means. Many in the world are now in financial mess because of the pandemic. And I share also climatic condition and predictable sudden change, bringing economic disaster and loss of life. The political landscape in the world has changed. There is oppression, tyrannical and corrupt government going on. And I shared about the social environment, especially the bleak future for our youth, many with no hope, disruption of life with suicide on the rise. And I share also that life can be suddenly taken away by the COVID virus with no advance notice. I work in the COVID ward, I know about it. And ended with this question: are you prepared to die? Are you ready to die? Today is part 2. What is it? To survive the change in age. I have written an amateurish poem. It's called Sunset Now, A Life's Journey, and it's 22 stanzas long. Along the way, I will quote and make comments. I hope you will gain something from it. I don't know it's sunset now until everyone started calling me uncle. It's not easy for me to accept that. And soon it will be grandpa, walking slowly with a limp on a stick. I'm doing it now. I have pain in my knees. It was just yesterday, not long ago. We as children playing happily in innocence with nary a thought of tomorrow, wishing to grow up faster than Father Time. How many of you have played these games? I think it's only the oldies. The younger ones may not know these games at all. It's all way past nostalgia games. We used to play after school, and no homework and so on. Now it's different. Time did flash by in a dash. Puberty came right on time, and soon school days were over. We gently walk out of home. You see the comic, initially it's the child who don't want to go to school. Now it's a mother who can't let go. And those of you who are new to the college, you will have been homesick, right? Leaving home all of a sudden, far, far away from home. I remember the story of Madame Noy. You know, she said when she left the village with a pail. I don't know what's the pail for, but it's still with her at home. That was a dramatic story, I still remember. I left for college with holes in my shoe because we were dirt poor at that time. And I used to remember the cobbler, repairing the shoe in India. In a glimpse, college days came and went. Father Time did not wait for anyone. For fun-free college days to be forever. Before we knew it, it's graduation. Last week was graduation. We thought that, time was so slow in college, but then all of a sudden 3 years just went by. And then you graduate. Who are the graduates? I don't think there are any of you here last week, graduates. I think they must be working now. And some of you may thought that this place is like a prison, right? Cannot go out, time, you must come back on time. If not, you have to climb over the wall, okay? But then you realize that it's different when you go up. This is men's hostel in CMC Valor, where I spent 6.5 years of my life there. This is college chapel, and most of us know the way to the women's hostel, but we cannot enter in only once a year when it's open day. This is CMC Hospital, and this is the SDA Church in Valor, where I spent the formative years of my life there. Remember, the church is the best place for you to grow. Be active in church. I was holding a lot of position in the Lord Church. And the topmost was actually the director, the in charge of the camp and so on. You learn a lot of things, and you make mistakes. People don't scold you. The best time to learn is when you are strong and energetic and be active in church. That's where you learn and grow as a mature person. Right until into the adult world where we dream is freedom. Away from home, no rules, no hostile rules and restriction. Doing the things we want to do, no restrictions, no time constraint, right? No longer 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, go back to Adventist court. But now it's free. Where is Brenda and all this? No, Brenda, Grace V and all this, where are they? Oh, not there, hiding. Now they're staying alone. All free now, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, nobody bother about you. Thrown into the rat race of life is work and work and work, bills to pay. It's no fun to be in the adult world, right? Those days you just have to worry about passing exam. Now you think of electric bill, room rent, and so on. And if you've got a car, you pay off the loan. Okay, it's not easy to be in the working adult world. Think of your parents, okay? How hard life is to support and nurture you and bring you up. And here are the bills I look at it, 10 of it at the beginning of the month. These are the things I need to pay. These are the things I need to pay. See, the end of the day is all about money, right? Why you study so hard? Why you work so hard? For what? The end of the day is all about money. How nice it is to have a salary rise. How many of you would like to have a salary rise? Everybody was happy when you get a bonus this year. Thank you, Uncle Ronald and Uncle Thomas, for giving the nurses the pay rise and all the allowance and so on. They were so happy. They're so happy because they thought that this year there won't be any bonus in the Adventist hospital. Wow, they were so happy. And how nice it is a rich uncle or rich relative suddenly say, oh, I am going to give you some money. How nice, a windfall. All of a sudden all your debts get paid off. Billy Graham said, if a person gets his attitude toward money straight, it will help straighten out almost every other area of his life, right? Money is what we get in return for our time and talents. A formula goes like that. That's in Adventist Review 2003. Time plus talent equals money. Much of our life is focused on getting, spending, saving, giving, and investing. It is a single greatest competitor with God for our attention, right? Think of going out without money. Think we're going to KL without money. Every budget should include savings. Savings are the secret to financial growth and prosperity. If you're going to be financially healthy, you need to treat savings as essential as food, transportation, housing, or any other category of daily living. Nursing students, nurses, working nurses, are you saving? Good. There's a difference between saving and hoarding. Okay, we'll come to that. Things break, wear out, and stop working. Recently, my house, a lot of repairs, even though it looks like a new house, 1,000, 2,000, you don't have money, how? All of a sudden, these things happen. My car broke down also. Just last night, the tire got punctured. I was trying home, got punctured. And there was, all of a sudden, you have to spend money, often and unexpectedly. If there's no money to replace them, we often have to resort to the use of credit to solve the problem. One of the functions of saving is to provide for these rainy days events, right? Is it true? As a rule of thumb, your savings should cover you for 3 to 6 months, or if your income stops suddenly today, we'll come to that. And then in Proverbs 6, verses 6 to 8, go to the end, you sluggard, Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. Here God is telling us even the ant knows how to save money. And look at that. The price increase for fish, eggs, chicken, and so on. Even gardenia bread has been wrote. The price is increased from 1st December, 30 to 40 cents. Not to mention vegetables. You know, the recent landslide in Cameron Highland, you see broccoli. I brought 2 broccoli. I thought, how can they become like 60, from 8 ringgit to 20 ringgit? Wow. It's also very expensive to be vegetarian. In the survey during the MCO by the Department of Statistics of Malaysia, more than half of Malaysians said that they were severely affected financially during the MCO period. The self-employed, 71.4% saving lasts only 1 month. The employed, 82.7% saving lasts for 2 months. And that's why we have free food now, everywhere, the white flag. And these are the reasons why people are bankrupt, at least in Malaysia. 36% has related to car loan, because our cars are so expensive. So don't ever think that buying a car is short, but it's a financial burden. I remember, when I bought my first car, I was, wow, there was a Datsun and there was a Honda. And somebody advised me bought a Honda, and I realized I made a big mistake because Honda consume alcohol like anything, and the spare parts are more expensive than the Datsun. So be careful of buying, beyond what you can, and you realize you're financial. And most of the 36% are high-rated car loan, housing loan, education loan, and so on. And these are the people of young people in KL who got bankrupt because of credit card and loan problem. And then in September 2020 to September 2021, 11,000 Malaysians declared bankrupt. Of course, that is unreliable because I think it is more because it's not reported. In the EAPF, 15 million members, 7.6 members are active. And out of these, 6.1 million members have less than 10,000 for their retirement. Less than 10, how to retire? And 3.6 million have less than 1,000 in their retirement savings. And this is a good article, those of you who want the innocent beginnings of debt. How suddenly, you are debt-free and then you buy this and buy this. Everybody say you can, and then suddenly you're loaded with debt. This is a good article, those who want you read. So avoid laden with debts. Don't be a slave to debt. That's very important in your life, especially the Christian life. Most strained relationships, especially those who are newly married, are related to money issue. Most crimes are related to money, right? Money issue driven many to suicides and chemical dependence, right? Alcohol and so on. It will affect you spiritually. Because I'm faithful, how can God bless me? And there have been people who left the church because they see that Uncle Ronald, all these are driving nice cars, and here they don't. In comparison. And lower ethics and standards. From the beginning of my career as a doctor, I realized that if I'm in big debt, what will happen? I would unnecessarily do procedures on the patient. Do something that's not necessary because I need to pay off my debt. And this happens in many professional life because they are loaded with debt. They unnecessarily will do things on patient or on clients and so on to pay off the debt. So be careful. And Alicia Huang has this YouTube Sound Financial Planning. Those of you can go through it. So here is a bit of my advice on shopping, okay? Avoid sale event unless you need something, especially now Christmas sale. Because during sale time, the carnival feel-good atmosphere, the adrenaline rush, the desire for a bargain the tempting discount sign prominently displayed propels you to buy more than what you want. Write a shopping list, have a budget. Don't get sidetracked. And this happened, I'm sorry, to most ladies. They want to go there and then something going on there, they sidetrack, and then they're loaded with things. And of course, ladies, most men don't like shopping. Bring your husband along. If you don't, if I'm healthy, you can rent me for a fee and I will help you in shopping. Investments. Here are things that you can do investment on. Bank saving, foreign currency, bonds, unit trust, share properties, business, insurance, EPF. The golden rule in investment is you won't commit suicide if you lose it all. Okay? These are extras. Danger is if you spend lots of time checking on your investment like the share market, you're feeding your greed. Investment versus speculation. Here is a few articles, the Christian and marketable securities in the review. Investment, speculation or gamble, financial speculation, one of Satan's snares. I don't have time to do that. You can read through it. Here are a few get-rich-quick way schemes and scams. Don't think that it doesn't involve Adventist. When I came back, there was a gold rush in the Adventist hospital. That was year back in 1994. Here in famous Genting Casino, I was there once with my family. 9 a.m., I wore a coat and went into the casino to see what it's like. I know I like to see all to 9 a.m. Full, and I was surprised. Full of ladies. Ladies. That was 9 a.m. As I went in, I saw pictures of those who won millions posted up. They didn't print out any of those who lost millions, okay? They print out only those who won a lot of money. Because casino operators don't mind you winning. $1 million, $2 million, no more, you win. As long as you come back. Because you got the gambling bug, sooner or later you lose it all one day. Because they've calculated the odds of those winning lots of money, a small percentage, most of them lose money. And then only that outside, I took my family this indoor game and outdoor. Everything you do, you lose money. Really? You play this game, you do this one, I know I was giving literally money away. The only thing I enjoy at that visit was halfway up the Genting, there was a nice Buddhist vegetarian restaurant. That's the only thing I enjoy. Other than that was really literally giving money away to Genting Highlands. I've never been back again. Lottery, how nice it is. In 15 October 2011, Britain has the biggest ever Euro millions jackpot up for grabs, 184 million pounds. How nice it is. In the newspaper, they call it the curse of the lottery winner. And this is one comment. At times, it feels like winning lottery has ruined my life. Remember in Malaysia, what is it? The feudal workers. Remember, all of a sudden the government give this, the millions, the feudal workers, and no time they lost it all. They were poorer after than before. Because they bought Mercedes, they bought BMW, they do this, not realizing their money is just gone. And they don't know how to use it in kampong. What is the use of having a Mercedes? I thought you would make it 10 times better, but it's make it 10 times worse. That's why in the newspaper in Britain and other places, they call it the curse of the lottery winner. They do not know how to use the windfall money. A lucky draw, and this happens, today. You get a call, you get an email, a letter saying you won sweepstakes, a lottery, a prize, or there are people overseas who want to transfer money and want to use your bank account. Have you received it? Yes, I often receive it. And you get a percentage of it. An interesting thing is you can't remember putting your name for it. All of a sudden, you got all this WhatsApp group, Google, lucky draw. 3 signs of the price scam. 1, pay to get your prize. A lucky draw means lucky, you don't pay anything, but when you ask to pay, there's something not right. Paying increases your odds of winning. Again, not right. You have to give your financial information. Why am I mentioning it? Because many, even Adventists, are caught up in all these things. They lost money. Now, let me ask you, if you win money, most people know it. Okay? If you lost money, what will you do? You keep quiet. Have you ever seen that? Nobody will be so embarrassed, so ashamed that you lost money and being such a fool. And here is a graph that you can look at it if you want. And then these are the investment scams, pyramid, Ponzi, multi-level marketing that's happening nowadays in the world today. Here in Councils and Stewardship, the desire to engage in speculation in buying up country and city lots or anything that promises sudden and exorbitant gains has reached a fever heat. And mind and thought and labor are all directed towards securing all that is possible of the treasures of earth in the shortest possible time. Some of you bid fair to be hastened unto ruin because of this feverish grasping for riches. The old, safe, helpful paths to competence are losing popularity. The idea of accumulating substantial means by the moderate gains of industry and frugality. Uncle Kelvin is living in a big house, but you remember, my mother told me, you're the only son who has not bought a house, and that was I. I was 50 years old already. You're the only son who ever bought a house. But the idea of accumulating substantial means by the moderate gains of industry and frugality is an idea that is scorned by many as no longer suited to this progressive age. Lazy to work hard for years, but wants quick cash. And this is the modern era. And here are all these investment scams in the market. Gold, I say in 1994 it came out, there was a gold rush in Adventist hospital. Many doctors and nurses were involved. Cafe, I don't know whether you know this Great Island Cafe, water business, all of a sudden people selling oxygenated water, alkaline water, they give you help, car fuel booster. I bought it from one nurse who sold it to me. It will clean your engine and so on, boost everything and don't have to use all petrol. Perfumery products, energy, all of a sudden people wearing all this magnetic thing, give you health and so on. Neurology, fortune telling, medical checkup also, seaweed venture, Lindsay, Arona, fish breeding, English learning program. We entered into one of the online tuition thing which we never even use, pay 1,000 ringgit, timeshare holidays, and on the other thing, how many of you do more? I've been because down on the ground floor there's a vegetarian restaurant there. One day I took my brother there to give him a free. Oh, it's closed. Whole M-Mall was closed. It's used virtual currency. When you buy something, you got virtual currency, you can shop in the big M-Mall. Now it's totally empty. And here are the things that you can read: how to spot multi-level marketing, what's a Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme, and so on. If you want, you can read. And here is something years ago, I was asked to invest, which I didn't, okay? JJPTR. There's a Chinese 普通人, poor to rich. If you're going to be a member, you just have to invest $50, okay? Up to a maximum of $1,000, which is very little actually. $50 is very little. But promises it will be 20% monthly profit. Wow, you don't get that in the bank, from the bank. Okay, even Warren Buffett can't promise 20% monthly profit. And in addition, if you get member, a new member, a relative or church member, you get 5% extra. So what happened in 20th April 2017, suddenly found themselves unable to log into their accounts. The emails and phone calls was unanswered, and then all of a sudden, Johnson Lee said that their accounts were hacked and 500 million ringgit were lost overnight. Now, if you play in the share market, Even you dump any amount of thing, you won't lose all the money. Because it's always some will gain and some will lose. You cannot overnight lose 500 million all of a sudden, right? It's impossible. So what happened in 400,000 people were involved in 18 countries, 150,000 in Penang. And I have to say, many Adventists were involved also. And the rest were foreigners. What was Johnson Lee was fined? 18,000 ringgit in 2018. Here are the tips. Emphasis on recruiting. You get more money by recruiting people. No genuine product or service is sold. No nothing at all. Not like Amway, not like Tupperware. No, the products are good. These are nothing at all. Promises of high return, which is impossible. Easy money or passive income. If you offer compensation, actually little work, nothing about it in the land, you be careful. The early bird get the best, but late bird will lose everything. No demonstrated revenue from retail sale, and then they are not registered with Direct Selling Association or Suruhanjaya Sarekat Malaysia. Here's my personal experience. There's no such thing as a free lunch. No such thing. I have not come across any such thing. I have to work hard for what I have today. It's too good to be true. 20% per month. No way you can get that. Throwing names around. I remember one church member comes to my office and say, invest in some overseas estate. And then they mention these are the people involved. Your name is important and sacred. Especially if you're a Christian. If I invest, sooner or later you use my name. Dr. Tean is also involved. Same as JJPTR. I've heard of many, Adventist name being involved, pastors involved. Can you imagine your name being involved and later on this found out to be a scam? So if anytime somebody asks you to do something, invest in something and mention these are the people involved, don't. Because your name is very important. Your name can be used, okay? And showing people who have benefited. That is not right. And most important to me, most of these recruiters are your friends, church members, relatives. Don't be afraid to say no. The times I say yes, I lost money. Don't be afraid to say no. These are your hard-earned money. Even though the one who comes is a good friend, a family member, church leader. Don't be afraid to say no. Of course, you do research if you really want. Despite holding press conferences for nearly 12 years, cases still seem to fly through the department's door weekly. People never learn. Ultimately, it's a greed and carelessness that are going to cause damage. And that's Dr. Michael, MC, Public Services and Complaints Department. The loss will damage relationships and lose trust in family, friends, church members, and affecting your spiritual life. You'll be cursing the person, especially if it's a church leader who asks you to invest, you lost money, right? Will you come to church? No. Here is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 16. Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure with trouble. And here is a newer listen. Better to have little with fear for the Lord, to have great treasure and inner turmoil. Cannot sleep at night. And here Proverbs 13, verse 11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. And here's a New Living Translation. Wealth from quick schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time, like the ant, the bee. And here you can read from Mrs. White and Wise Use of Money, Counsels on Stewardship. So what is many financial planners and insurance people will tell you financial freedom, very important word. Financial freedom is to hoard well, enjoy the things of the world. You have good food, luxury food, travel, luxury items, big car, houses, early retirement, all for your comfort and retirement. You do this all for yourself. What is godly financial freedom? Is spiritual philanthropy, to be able to help, give where there is a need on an appeal, or even to share a meal, like the Free Food Project. The sole purpose is to advance the cause of God. You save in order to have extra to give to the cause of God. You cannot just pray, and all this. Save in order your extra can be given to the cause of God. Especially if people ask. Knowing that you are just a steward. So you save because you're a steward. So that is a big difference. Christ's object lesson: money has great value because it can do great good. In the hands of God's children, it is food for the hungry, drink for the thirsty, and clothing for the naked. Isn't it true? It is the defense for the oppressed and a means of hope to the sick. But money is of no more value than sand, only as it's put to use in providing for the necessities of life, in blessing others and advancing the cause of Christ. The followers of Christ are not to despise wealth. They are to look upon wealth as the Lord's entrusted talent. The scriptures teach that wealth is a dangerous possession only when placed in competition with the immortal treasure. It is when the earthly and temporal absorbs the thoughts, the affections, the devotion which God claims that it becomes a snare. The influence of the love of money over the human mind is almost paralyzing. Riches infatuate and causes many who possess them to act as though they were buried for reason. The more they have this world, the more they desire. Their fears of coming to one increase with their riches. I know it. I traveled in business class before. I feel very uncomfortable when I go to economy class going to Asia. I stay in five-star hotel when I just enter, and people know your name. And the room was so big. When you're used to all this luxury, one time, when I was a student in India, all these things, I even pee in the roadside, sorry to say, those Indian nights. But 20 years later, I went back to India. I was so uncomfortable with all the smell, all the dirt and all this, India, and I think my children don't like India, because when you're so used to luxury, you go back to something that is less, you don't feel nice anymore. That's the problem with the rich. The rich like to hoard up because they're fearful they lose it all in one day. They can't enjoy the luxury of things. They don't want to travel economy class, right? They want to be served, used to be served. It's not easy. They let go. They have a disposition to hoard up means for the future. Here are the simple rules of life I learned over the way. I think I'm old enough to give you some advice, right? Live a simple life. Don't aspire to be in the limelight with a prefix name. What's the prefix name? Like people call me Dr. Tean. I feel so nice. But in even the church also, pastor, senior most pastor, right? Holy Father, most holy Father, and so on. Reverend, most reverend. In reverend is not enough, but must be most, to show the hierarchy of things. And here in Mark chapter 12, verse 38 and 39. And he said unto them in his doctrine, beware of the scribes which love to go in long clothing and love salutations in the marketplaces, and the chief seats in the synagogues and the uppermost rooms at feasts. And Malaysia, you love to be called Dato, Tan Sri, and all these things, right? All these titles, we like that. We all like to be somebody, right? Don't compare Cash Up with the Jones. Compare me with it's too early. You haven't worked hard enough. Okay? Have cash, then buy. Pay down debts, pay off credit cards as it comes. Okay, often I have, bank call me out, hey, you want this or not, but I have to pay this amount of credit card. No, I say I pay it all. Know the price of things and where to shop, buy on sale. I bought the avocado for 99 cents. You believe it or not? I bought so much that my children who love it, got sick of it. You know where to buy the cheap things? Do you know or not? Learn to save. Liquid versus paper cash. It's good to have a lot of houses, a lot of things, but when we crunch time, as Najib said, cash is king. Without cash, you cannot survive many things. So remember to have liquid cash when emergency and rainy days. And those of you who have started your children, where is the others with children, Wallace and so on, family planning. Don't be like my brother. Don't be like my brother, 4 children. And I follow him now, I can't retire. I'm not saying you shouldn't, it's God's blessing, but now you can realize, it's expensive and it's strenuous. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't have 7, go ahead, you want, but I think 2 or 3 would be good enough in these modern times. And think of saving for the education when you have a baby. It's not cheap. Clothing is very expensive. It's not cheap, really. Think of buying insurance. Life is very expensive. The other day I took my mother to Adventist hospital. Sorry, Ronald Cole. The ER. I said just you sit down on the chair, give for injection. 100 ringgit, just a few minutes. It's expensive, even though she got a discount. And that doesn't include doctor's fee because I'm the doctor. It's 100 ringgit, including the doctor's fee with 200 ringgit. Can you imagine how expensive it is? Those of you, it's nurses, it's a blessing that you work in the hospital. Everything is free. You see me, it's free. Medicine is free. It's a blessing. Those who work outside, you really have to get some insurance. When you land in a hospital, it's not cheap. It is not cheap. Go to GH, line up. It's not cheap. Life and medical, especially your children, Don't forget to write a will. I have written a will. Don't think you're too young. Write a will for the sake of your family. Like if you have things, the government will not release anything that has your name on it when you die. Your family will be in financial trouble because if they want to release, they only release a certain amount. They won't release everything. Make sure you write a will. Very important. But very important in this, faithful in tithe and offering. Don't scheme on that. Faithful in tithe and offering. Keep your lives free from the love of money, but content what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. That's God's promise, Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. And then continuing, I'm taking a lot of time. And then this romantic spark, before you knew it, you set up a home. In no time, offspring came, just like your parents of old. Whose wedding is that? How many can guess whose wedding is that? Like going up the aisle. Whose wedding is that? I can't imagine Edwina and Derek doesn't know. Edwina and Derek's wedding. Okay? And of course, those of you think you're going for honeymoon, you see the real man. After marriage, I better not say more, my wife is there. Then it's work and family and work. Decades just flew by. And before you knew it, the children are all grown up. So Wallace, please, and Samantha, hold your baby, and Kevin, hold your baby tight. They grow up very fast. How many months now, Wallace? Where's Wallace? They grow up very fast. And before you knew it, they're all grown up already, in the blink of an eye. How you wish Father time slows down to give time to savor life's best moment. There will be the children as they grew up, only we need not grow up so, if they only not grow so fast. Here in Mark chapter 4, verse 19, this parable of the sower, where it says it goes to the sower went to sow in the wayside, then the stony ground, then the thorns and the good ground. Here it talk about the thorns. But the worries of the world and the deceitfulness of riches and desires for other things enter in and choke the word and becomes fruitful, busy, being under Satan's yoke. If Satan can get you to sin, he'll make you too busy. The devil wants you busy, bound, and burned out. And here is the one say, isn't it true they often get so busy that you even wear busyness as a badge of honor, as though being busy by itself was an accomplishment or a sign of superior life. If we fail to give our best personal self and undivided time to those who are truly important to us, one day we will regret it. I think it's me myself, I was so busy, my children all grown up and now realize, it's different. It's different, and I really regretted it. We must beware that we do not become overburdened even with what seem the necessary cares of life, so that we are unable to do the most essential work. The largest share of the thoughts and the busy activities that engage hands and hearts are given to selfish, personal, earthly interests. These are allowed to become so engrossing as to prevent attention to the things of eternity. The soul is left to starve for want of nourishment. Mind and body becomes worn out by protracted hours of application to worldly things. This is just what Satan wants. All the freshness and vigor of mind, all the keen thought is given to the world. And God has a feeble, distracted thought, the fruit of a varied and worried mind. The things of the highest consequence which pertain to eternal peace are made subordinate to the common concerns of life. And God is robbed every day of service which would strengthen spirituality, lifting the thoughts heavenward and bring the soul into communion with God and holy angels. And this is the problem with most of us, too busy with the things of the world. Here in Psalm 127, verse 2, in English Standard Version, it is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives sleep to his beloved. I like the other one. It is vain for you to rise early, come home late, and work so hard for your food. Yes, he can provide for those whom he loves even when they sleep. Wow. So rest is very important. It's a weapon given to us by God. The enemy hates it because he wants you stressed and occupied. That's why Sabbath day is very important. Rest. And then continuing, but no matter what you do, the right hairs refuse to go. Richard, you're blessed, where the wrinkles and bags are set with hard of hearing and dim to see. As the memories fade and the strength of limbs weakens, your body aches everywhere, and you suddenly realize it's sunset now. Last night I lost my pen drive. Everything in that, including the sermon, was lost. Fortunately, I have this sermon in the home computer. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do today. You see, as you grow older, you don't know where you letak your things. How you wish you had more time to do the things you want to do, you regretted the wasted time. Now is a downward path to the tomb. To the young, all of you here, waiting to grow old, very soon you will have your wish fulfilled. Before you knew it, you will join the ranks of the old, and you will wonder why you grow up so fast. Time flies, here it used to be Uncle Nathan, Dr. Sinaga, and all this, all gone. Now I'm the senior, including, don't mind Ronald and my brother and all this, we all, we are filling the benches of the seniors. Don't think. You're still young. Don't think. Because sooner or later, without you realizing it, you may pass 30, 40, 50. And then you suddenly realize, like myself, wow, I'm 60 over already. My goodness, time to go already. Just before it's sunset now for you, take stock of your life before you. At every stage of life, each of us is given the time to spend. Don't waste it away on unnecessary pursuit. Most of the time like this, money, on education, on career, business, on romance and relationship, on social justice and climate, on political change in the workplace, become very politically active, and theological debates and contentions. I don't have time to elaborate on things, but stop. If these things affect you spiritually, and you stop praying, and you're having your devotional life. Attending church is no more a joy because these things are affecting you. Attending church is no more a joy. Avoiding, condemning, and cursing people, especially church members, change personality, become irritable and grouchy wherever you go. Loss of zest in life and work, affecting your sleep and health, neglect the family, and then losing patience and faith in God. God is too slow to change things, want to take matters into your own hands, right? Stop. If these things are affecting you, your romance, your relationship, your boyfriend, whatever it is, think of all these things. And here's a nice one. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. The world can be absorbing and enchanting, full of treasure to explore and gain until the glitter and glamour start to dim as age catches on. Here is a story of the prodigal son in Luke 15. It says here, many of us like the prodigal son. For success in our studies, in college and university, in the beginning of our career, in starting a relationship with boyfriend, girlfriend, in building up a business, to be somebody in society or company, we don't mind setting God aside to achieve our goals, thinking that God is in our way. As age catches on, we may have wealth, position, and the accolades of the world, but too often too late was done at the sacrifice of our health, our family, morals, and alienates us from God. The Bible tells us whatever pursuits in life can be done with God by our side. And we need not leave up God in order to be successful in life. Need not leave up God to be successful in life. Look at Uncle Ronald, Uncle Thomas, myself, Eric, we need not leave out God. Thousands and stewards, it's often that the change from godliness to worldliness has been made so imperceptibly by the worldly insulations that you change without realizing it. That is what it says. It's going to be sunset now. What can you bring to the grave? Except your lifeless body and a tombstone marking your grave. Here's a grave for rent, okay? The neighbors are very quiet. And there we brought nothing to the world. Remember your Creator, so said the preacher, in the days of your youth, as the years draw nigh, before Father time just fly by. Don't waste your time until it's too late on things you can't bring to the tomb. While you still have the time, prepare your life for God's kingdom. But to the oldies like myself, it's sunset now. We cannot undo the past. With each regret, we can only make peace with our Creator. And here, 1 John 1:9, how important it is. We confess our sins, whatever happened in the past. He is faithful and just to forgive us our sin. All the wrong things, all the mistakes, everything that we regret has been done over the years. And to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Don't be like the adults. The seniors accumulate all the dirt and all this, and then during the tail end of their life, they do a lot of confession. When you're young, keep yourself clean. Okay? And here, the harlot caught in adultery, your sins are forgiven. How important it is to accept God's forgiveness and the peace in your later life in life. Still, it's not too late. We may be in sunset years. We can guide the young with wisdom gained from experience. As the young look up to us, may they see a tower of strength, anchored with faith in God and the love transcending barriers. The elders who rule well are to be considered worthy of double honor, especially those who work hard at preaching and teaching. 1 Timothy 15:17. Here are the two stories I'd like to share. When I was in the Ipoh church, there's always an elderly lady who always search up for me after church or before church and shake my hands and give me courage. And here's an elder, head elder. I still remember we were cleaning the church one day and he came with he was not rich, he's the literal evangelist, bring all the food, lunch for us. I still remember that. So the elder people who are seniors here, get to know our young people, greet them, encourage them, and maybe take one or two under your wings. And I'm quite embarrassed when Robert and Jeremy came and said, Uncle Calvin hugged me. I'm not a huggy person, but I just give them one hug. If I remember just one hug, and they remember it, they told it so many times here, I'm quite embarrassed, frankly. But can you remember just one hug, and they remembered? I may not remember that one hug. Can you imagine? Those of us seniors, one word of encouragement to the juniors here may change your life forever, and they will remember it as they grow up. So don't ever think you're useless. The elderly people here, there are a lot of young people here. So you don't mind, my wife don't mind, next time you come to my house, I may give you a hug. Okay? Don't be embarrassed. You don't mind? And then, we like to group together when we in church, after church, group together, feel no harmful to befriend the elderly people here. No harm. Oh, by the way, the elderly people, you may not be able to do a lot of things. My wife actually is looking for all the cooks to cook for these young people, 50, 60 of them every Sabbath. Volunteer yourself to cook. Cook, for them. You're good, And if you can't bring, tell the young people, come to my house. I cook porridge for you. I cook this. Come. Once a month, cook something for the young people. And young people, don't forget to say thanks to the people who cook for you. Or people who share, get to know one another, the old and the young. I'm always thankful to Derek and Adrina, Wanji and Jason for taking care of Grace. This afternoon, she's going to be baptized. And all the other young people. This should be the older ones take care of the younger ones, even though it may not be in the same family. That should be the case in the church. Right? We are one family. We are not that old to take care of the younger ones. Just say a word of encouragement. Just one hug for Robert and Jeremy, and I can't imagine they remember it for life. And I'm famous now for, even though I'm not a huggy person. To survive the change in age, no one can survive. We will all grow old and die. For as in Adam, all die. And then this is a comforting verse in the Bible, cast me not off in the time of old age, forsake me not when my strength faileth. And then in Psalm 31, now that I'm old and gray, do not abandon me, O God. Let me proclaim your power to this new generation, your mighty miracles to all who come after me. And Isaiah 46, even to your old age I'm he, and even the hoar hairs will I carry you. I have made and I will bear, even I will carry and will deliver you. How nice, and God is taking care of us when you grow old. But remember in Psalm 39, Lord, remind me how brief my time on earth will be. Remind me that my days are numbered, that my life is fleeing away. My life is no longer than the width of my hand, and an entire lifetime is just a moment to you. Human existence is just a breath. 1 minute you're closer to someone than anyone in the world. The next minute, you're never going to see them again. That's the sad reality of how time flies. Isn't it true? Recently, people died suddenly. Don't ever think that you're too young to die. COVID, I've seen. So treasure the moments that we have with one another, especially on the Sabbath day. James 4, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow, but what is life is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. But there's hope in Thessalonians chapter 4, for we do not grieve like the rest of the mankind who have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. Here is the ending of the poem. Yes, we can't avoid its sunset now. In lifeless form, we will all enter the grave. But soon our Creator will come with a shout. We will all awake, not dead, young again for eternity. How nice, how wonderful. No more sunset, for God is our sun in Revelation. The years of our life are 70, or even by reason of strength 80, yet your span is but toil and trouble, they're soon gone and fly away. And Psalm 90, so teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. And then the memory verse, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come. I like the Living Translation. Don't let the excitement of youth cause you to forget your Creator. Honor Him in your youth, not when you are old. Before you grow old and say, life is not pleasant anymore. And here is the thing, that's how the world lives. Too young to think about God, too self-sufficient to think about God, too much happy, romance to think about God, too tired to think about God, too busy to think about God, and when you're stretched out, too late to think about God. That's how the world lives. How about you? May God add His blessing to His word. Thank you.